Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Leigh Bella Ralston. I'm also known as Mommy Leigh on the internet. On behalf of Michael Stores and Faber-Castell USA, I would like to welcome you to another hour of learning here with us. It's always so exciting. Wednesday is my favorite day because I get to share this day with you and create something fun and play and do something creative, right? So before we get started, I'd love to say hello to everybody first. I'd like to say hi to Anne. Hi, Anne from Maryland. We have Buffy from SoCal. Hello. Hi, Barbara from Texas. We have such a beautiful weather today. Hey, Karen from California. Hey, Cher from Utah. Hey, Janet. Hello from Maryland. Hello there. Tina. Hi, Tina. Yes, I'm back. Hey, Laura. Oh my goodness. Are you guys okay? Yes, we're praying for all of our Floridians today for dealing with this Hurricane Milton. So, and everybody that was affected also by Helene. So that was really, so sad. So, hello, Lakita. Hey, Pat. Hey, Daisy. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Stephanie. Hello, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us. Like what I said, today we are going to be doing something very relaxing because lettering is something that I'm so passionate about. I do this almost every day. I mean, sometimes I try to, if I have any type of digital work that I need to do in my computer, in all honesty, I try not to stay in my craft room because if you give me like a marker in my journal, all I do is I can just sit here and letter and letter and letter and letter and letter and just play. And so when I have like anything, any type of work that doesn't include art or anything that I have to do digitally, I try to stay away from my craft room because I can't stay away from lettering. So today's lettering is going to be actually really fun because we're going to try to combine some print lettering and then we're going to add a little bit of some script or some brush lettering as well. So we're going to combine both and create a beautiful fall art lettering. So with that being said, let's talk about some materials that I'm going to use today. I love using pencil first. I love sketching the composition or, the placement of the letters. I think that's the most important thing. That's the main thing is that we need to figure out where we're going to actually put the words that we're going to write or draw, right? So the next one is, since I'm going to be using some water, we need a mixed media paper or watercolor paper that you have in there. And then I'm going to use a Faber-Castell, the Goldfaber Aqua dual markers. So these are water-based dye inks, but they are water soluble. So it means that you can use water to blend it. It's almost like a watercolor. And that's how we're going to use these markers today. I have a palette in here. You can use any plastic palette. This is just like a plastic palette. Now, if you don't have it, if you have like, a silicone mat, if you have packaging, a plastic packaging, there you can use that, a Ziploc or anything very smooth, a porous surface like that will work. Here we go. And then watercolor pencils, you may use it, Angie, but I think what's going to be different is the way we are going to use the markers today. We're actually not going to use the markers directly into the page. We're going to need some round brushes or a water brush. If you have the water brush instead, that's going to work as well. I have some round brushes. The type of brush, the size, it always differ. It just depends on what type of project I'm working on, but I can use from zero to number, I think my zero, two, four, six, and eight are my favorite. Just depends on how big this space that I'm working with, that I have working. And then also depends on how big my letters are going to be or the type of illustration that I'm going to make. So I believe I have here zero round and I have actually number five. So I thought I have a number four. So usually just a four is okay also. But I think my other round brushes here, this one is a number two. Take care of your brush because I sometimes I like to say that I do, but most of the time they dry really weird. So what you need to do is when you're drying, you want to make sure that you just kind of like adjust it back to almost its original shape, but sometimes it's hard. So I just kind of let it dry like this and I just hang it like that. Never put it inside your jar, never have it like upside down like this. So have it horizontal, let it dry like this. So any brand when it comes to brushes, if we're not doing, super intricate type of illustrations, I I'm not really picky with brushes. I would rather have a better a better marker, a better watercolor than a brush. But I know a lot of people are tricky with their, very picky with their brushes because the type of hair that it uses, it just depends on how much water it holds. So you don't have to keep kind of like dipping and all that. So those little things. But, the ones that I'm using today, I have from King Art, and this one is from Princeton. I also have a water brush from Faber-Castell and the ones from Artist Loft from Michaels also. Okay, so let's talk about some colors because we're going to do some fall lettering. I have some colors in here. Next time, what I'm going to do is I don't think they include the name and the number of the colors. I'm going to put that in the description next time. I thought that they added that, so I'm very sorry about that. But the colors, just try to find like a light green. I have the chromium green opaque in here. I have pine green as well. I want to add some, leaves around the lettering today and a few pumpkins here and there because what we're going to letter today says pumpkin spice and everything nice. So I have a light yellow ochre. I have the color terracotta. I have burnt ochre, burnt sienna, and I might use the apricot color just for the base, but we'll see. All right. So if you're using a watercolor pencils, my suggestion would be to kind of like go straight in the paper and use your pencils to just letter. And then later on, you can use the water brush to start blending in your lettering. Okay, so, but to us are using the markers. So we're going to create our own palette. So prepare your palette in here, and we're just going to put in different colors in here, yellows or golden yellows if you have any that hue. This one is the terracotta. I love this type of orange. It's not like a bright, kind of like bright sunshiny orange. This one is like really, really pretty. It's just such a beautiful, gorgeous shade value of orange. This one is a burnt ochre. And this one is burnt sienna. I don't know why I'm doing this already, but I might have to keep adding some more later on. So I'm just gonna stop here with the light green and the dark green. All right. No, you don't have to use all the colors, Belle. You can honestly just use like 3 colors in here or even just one, just to practice. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk to you about composition. When it comes to composing my quotes, it's not really a secret, but this is how I like to do it. I love adding just very small. It's called doing creating some thumbnails, right? So we're going to draw just small rectangles like this. Depends on your orientation. If you want to do a landscape or a portrait, it just depends on how you're going to do your letters. But since I'm going to do a portrait, so I'm going to do a rectangle, and let me adjust my brightness so this one so you'll able to see the sketch. There you go. I think that's better. Okay, so we're just gonna do some rectangles like this, and this is going to be like our paper, right? Almost just like our paper. I'm gonna draw 3 more so we can have idea. It doesn't have to be big. It's just like that. So next, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just basically write the quote. So what I picked is, do you have the numbers for the colors? Yes, I do have the numbers for the colors. Let me write it down real quick over here at the bottom so you can see. Oops. So we have 183, like that. We have 18, how do I keep doing that? 186, right? This one is 283. We have, again, you don't need all of these. 187. I have 17. Lay, you did it again. 174. And then last would be the pine. This is a gorgeous green. 267. Now, as you can see, the Goldfaber Aqua dual markers, it comes with two tips. You have a brush tip like this, and then you have a 0.6 fine tip on the other end. So it's really fun using it for like journaling or just, adding some fine details type of illustration. Then you have like a fine tip option, the 0.6 tip on the other side. All right, you are most welcome. Okay, so we're gonna just write it, right? We're gonna write it pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice. We're just gonna break it down per word and everything nice. All right. So I always just write it down and see, okay, which ones. So if you're new to my classes, then this is new to you. But if you've attended, my previous classes, we've been doing this for the last couple of years, then you know that what's the next step is we're going to choose words that we want to kind of like highlight or we want to make pretty. So I think everything is something that I really want to highlight. And then maybe the word spice like that. So pumpkin, not so much. The word and, it's almost like so little, we can include it in some spaces. So that's kind of like how my brain works. And then everything, these are the things that I want to highlight. So now knowing that the spice and everything is something that I want to make pretty, then I'm going to write it again, doing just that. So I'm going to write pumpkin and I'm just writing in print. It's not so pretty. And then I'm just going to letter spice in print so I can see, right? Pumpkin spice. And then I'm already seeing a space in here because of the letter P. I'm going to zoom in just a bit more so you can see it here. Yeah, there we go. Whoops. So pumpkin spice. And then I can see here, I can put in the word and underneath the spice, just like this. Okay, and then, okay, I want to make everything nice also. So here, because I have space between this S and the P, like a space in there, I can grab that. You don't have to write pretty yet, but we're going to write it in script. Okay, and then nice. Pumpkin spice and everything nice. Okay, now we're going to go back to our thumbnail. Now we can make this kind of like trial and error, how we space it in our paper. So let's go to one of our triangles and then start that. I'll start with my pumpkin. Now, this is something that I always have issues with, okay? I personal struggle with this one, is that it's either I start way too way so much in the middle part of the paper, or I'm way higher or I'm way lower. And that's why it's always nice to have kind of like a thumbnail like this where you can just kind of like practice and see where everything is going. Hey, come on, why are you doing this to us? Okay, focus. All right, so I'm going to try and find my happy middle for the word pumpkin. We're just going to write it small. Spice. Now I have a choice if I want to make, let's start with what we created first. So, okay, I'm going to write and then everything. You don't have to write it nice. We're just going to find the right placement in the paper. Okay, I like that. Pumpkin spice and everything nice. Now, I want to adjust a few things in here for the next one. You can play around with, it's called your flourishing, right? But still, I'm going to write my pumpkin in a print. And I still want my spice and everything as script. So I'm going to play around with just placement. Do we want to extend, the words? So how we're going to extend a lettering would be, for example, the spice. It's all about your connecting loop, just like this. So for example, my S, I'm going to do my letter P. And what is the connecting loop? I'm going to make it where I'm almost like overextending it. So this is overextending my letter I and then overextend it. What you want to make sure is you have just, pretty similar space between your letters. So that's our goal if you want to overextend. So just overextend your extension loop or your extension stroke for your next letter. Okay, so pumpkin spice. Now I'm going to try if I can make an ampersand. See, and here instead of the word end. I want to try that. But then I still want to make everything. If I'm going to choose to do the ampersand here, I might have to write my word everything in a print. See, because it's a long one. Already in my thumbnail, I can see that I have issue with the word end because it's going to be really long. So I'm going to have to figure that out in my next one. So maybe since I did the word everything in a print, I'm going to try and make the word nice in a script way, in a nice script way. Just like that. I mean, it's an idea, right? So pumpkin spice and everything nice. I like it, but I'm still not there. I'll try it again. I'll try, okay. Maybe I want to extend the word pumpkin instead of them the letters so close together. Maybe like this. Instead of like so condensed, I'm going to have them, with a little bit of space. And then I really like the small letter S instead of the big capital letter S. But I still like that extended look. So I'm going to do that. Pumpkin spice, right? And I really love that letter P is extended below, and I can just write the word end. So I'm almost going back to my first idea here, right? And then everything there. I really have to work on that word because I feel like it's going to be really long for me. I think this is my favorite. But now we're going to work on some loops and making it a bit more fancier. So I'm trying here from my letter Y because our letter G and our letter Y is going to be like this, right? So we want to make sure to have the same loop in there. So that means I'm not going to have enough space for my letter I here if this is going to loop in here. So I'm going to try and write it again, but this time with this thought over here that, okay, I have to make sure that my letter I is going to be a bit smaller. My letter C and my letter E, I need to space it out even better. But I'm almost there. So pumpkin, extended to kind of like cover the whole space or the whole like this length of the word pumpkin. And then end would be in print also. I think I'm going to adjust my letter E a little bit to the left. And then I'm not going to add the loop first of my Y, just so I can have a better spacing. Letter G also. Okay. So now I'm going to decide on the loop. Do I make it like super big like this underneath that? Can you see there? And then I'm going to copy that. So we have a very similar look. Okay. Now I'm going to make the word nice a bit bigger just so we can space out the letters. Even though the letter I and the letter E might be a bit smaller, but they're still going to be big and bold. So you'll be able to read the word nice with no issues. We're just placing the letter I underneath that loop, that's descending loop of the letter Y and the letter G. So letter E also. Right, I think I like this one. Now, do I want to make anything with the word pumpkin? See, that's another issue. I think in the sample lettering that I did, I'm just going to redo it for everybody, just so you can see the sample. But I'm not sure I want to do it now. I think I just kind of like overextend this letter K right here. I mean, that's another look, just like that. Extend that. And I mean, that's another look there if you want to extend your letter K. Right, so pumpkin spice and everything nice. And then I just want to add like 2 lines for the word end so that we're like pointing the viewers or the eyes of your viewer to the word end, that, hey, that's a separate word in there, you know, because it's a little small. So you want to kind of like put focus in that one. But I think this is it to me. Pumpkin spice and everything nice. Then we can add a little bit of illustration, like few leaves here and there, and some pumpkins also for that. All right, so everybody good with your thumbnails and what you're going to do? All right, so make sure you also have a paper towel. All right, I'm gonna go, oops, go on the other, over here. And since I'm a righty, if you're gonna use anything with spiral like this too, so you just kind of flip it around. If you're a lefty, you don't want it here. So you want it on the other side. But I'm a righty, so I want my spiral over here on that left side. So it doesn't bother me at all. Now we have the whole paper. Now we have this whole big space. Sometimes it's easier to kind of like look at your thumbnail. I'm like, oh, I got this. And then you see this whole big sheet of, you know, paper. I'm used this. I think this is a 9x12. So this is going to be, okay. So the key to this one is sketch really light. So I'm sorry if you might not, you know, see my sketch, because I'm really going to try to sketch lightly in here just so I can make sure that all my placement is good. And I'm going to start with the word pumpkin. I'm not going to write it so big. So I'm just going to make sure I have a good spacing in between, because we want to stretch it out also, because remember we have a long word later, which is the thing. And then I'm just going to extend the letter K just to try. Then letter I, and then letter N. I think it's okay. I think I'm a little bit to the right, but it's okay. We can adjust that in a little bit. I think my letters M and the P is too close together. But then again, these are the things that we can adjust. And that's why it's so important to use a pencil first. All right, so pumpkin, and then I'm going to write spice. Don't forget your extension strokes to overextend your letters. It's going to be such a different feel when you're actually writing now in a bigger space. So you want to make sure to really write big, but just big enough, right? Pumpkin spice. And I'm going to write the word end. I may be writing my word end a little too big for my liking, but I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. Like that. And maybe I don't like the overextended, so I'm going to adjust it. See, pencil is so important. So I'm just going to write them closer instead of kind of like super stretched. Just like that. And then maybe add in some just kind of like loops right there. Instead of just straight line, I just kind of like added like a little hump, and it goes like this. And it goes up. It's like almost like a wave. All right, now the word everything. See if I can zoom it. I know it's really light. You might not be able to see it. And everything. So I know I have enough space. Eee. I think I'm writing so big. I have a feeling. Yep, I'm already writing big. I should have adjusted my letter E a little bit more to the left. So erase, erase, erase. And now you know why I'm writing, sketching really light, because I do a lot of adjustments. Oops. So when you do this straight on with your marker or, um, trust me, I have thrown away so much piece of paper because I didn't sketch it first. So I have learned my lesson with this one, especially if I'm writing, a bit more complicated quotes like this, which has, more words than usual instead of kind of like three words like you got this or I got this. When it's a bit longer like this, I really need a pencil first. Okay, so I know that I need to adjust my letter E a bit more here. So here we go. Now, E. Now, the way I do my brush lettering or script, however you want to call it, I really love the look of balanced lettering. Now, I know not everybody, loves that look. So, what you need to do is if you want neat and really, I don't know, more like a very, I don't see, um, discipline. So you want to make sure that you have the same height of each letter. So if you're a capital letter, so for example, the letter E, then you want to make sure that half of that letter E is your next letters, which are the VERYTHING, right? So what you want to make sure is you have the same height of each letter. So just kind of like really work on that height of those letters so everything will look good. Now, I personally love kind of like bounds that has, it's almost like that's why it's bounds, because the letters appear to look like they're dancing because they have different placements and they have different heights and sizes. I just personally love that look. But for this one, I'm going to go be disciplined and try to have close height of each letter as much as I can. Just like that. I think it's good. Now for the letter E, one of the flourishes that we can add from here is that find the end of your letter E. If you made your letter E just like mine, what you want to do is have a loop over here on the inside like this, and then bring it out just like that. So have from here, from the end of your stroke, you bring it in, a small loop, and then you bring it up just like that. See? Okay, I'm going to do my letter S. I'm going to fix it. And everything. Now I'm going to do my word nice. So I'm going to go inset my letter N because I only have 4 words in here. So that means I'm going to have to make sure that I use up all the space. So we have very well-balanced letters and placements. And don't worry about if, some of the letter are smaller, like the I, or if yours is the letter C. Doesn't matter. Parts of my letter N is also shorter. That's just part of that look. All right. I don't know if I want to put in like, nah. If I'm going to do this to my letter I, then I'm going to have to do it to this I also, just so we can have the same look. But this is what I have. Pumpkin spice and everything nice. I'm looking at my work now and see if there's anything that I want to adjust before we go ahead and do our lettering. I think the word end I'll make a little bit smaller. And then we're going to do something counterproductive. We're going to erase our sketch. Not entirely, though. We're just going to lighten everything. And I use a kneaded eraser for this one. This is from Faber-Castell. I really love using this when it comes to erasing and then lightening up a sketch. It's like a little putty. I know it's like super like this. Ooh, it's like, it's nice to play around. Okay, so when I need to lighten my sketch, all I need to do is kind of like roll on top of this one. almost like this. And this will give you just like that perfect base for your sketching. It just really lightens everything. Now, when you're erasing and you get a little bit of those graphite, it means you have to clean your eraser. Just do what I did earlier, just kind of like going like this. So really just like that. So you're taking off some of that graphite in there and just really just blending everything. Just like that. Play around with it like a putty. Then I'm just going to go over it again just to have it really lighten everything. So my first layer of sketch won't show through since we're using a bit light colors in here. Okay. Now you're not going to see anything for sure. That's for sure. Okay. So I am going to use, what round? What size? Do I use the 5? I think I'm going to use the 5. Okay, I'm going to play around with this brush. Now you choose your colors. You can choose one color for all of the lettering if you want. You know, maybe choose the pine or a dark green, and then we can choose oranges and, you know, the yellows and the brown for some parts of the leaf. You know, it just depends on you. I want you to decide which one you want. You can use, you know, start from the very light orange first, or that what color is that we use? Light yellow ochre, and then go ahead and do the terracotta, you know, kind of mix it around. But I think all of these colors will look so pretty together. So you do you, okay? I want you to do your choice while I'm trying to decide what I want to do also, because I can't decide. I'm just going to start with the lightest color. That's what I'm going to do, light yellow ochre. So I'm just adding a little bit of water in here. Remember when we did applied some of that marker here on top of this plastic surface. And now I am activating those pigments by just adding a little bit of water. And so when you're using your brush, now if you're not, you know, very used to using your brush pen, remember that your brush, this is much more flexible than your regular markers. So a little bit of pressure will really give you some thickness to it. So I want you to just kind of like maybe start with just a piece of paper and really play around with the brush and see how much, to get familiar with it, see how much pressure all that you need to apply just to create a thicker stroke. Because I personally write really heavy, so I just try to be gentle with my pressure in here so I don't create like a super thick stroke. So I don't flex the brush too much. All right. So I'm just going to be breathe, gentle. See how much thick that is already. So I'm just going to be, maybe you should use a number 2 brush in here. I don't know. Maybe the number 5 is too thick. And it's holding too much water for me also. So make sure that you don't have like a pool of water in here. Now, Angie, I know you're using your pencil. It's okay. You can just kind of letter on top of your sketch and start using your pencil in here. Okay, letter U. So how I'm going to do my letters is still kind of like how we do brush lettering, right? So every time we do our downstroke or we're writing towards our body, this is when we're going to apply a little bit of pressure so we can have some extra thickness in our downstroke. So that is our downstroke. And then every time I would write away from me, or it's called an upstroke, I will go very gentle in my pressure, the pressure that I'm using, and then I'm going to concentrate on using just the tip of the brush pen. So this is upstroke, so I need to do light here. Just like that. Ooh, I'm going to reapply my marker already. I don't have any more, but this brush holds a lot of that mixture. Even though I don't have any more in that palette, I can feel the brush is still very wet with a lot of the mixture that we have. So I'm just going to go in and use whatever I have here. Yep, it's getting really light. So this is my indication that, okay, I need to make another mixture of that marker, because you can see now I don't have, a lot of opacity or a lot of that pigments in there. So I'm just going to reapply my marker, just like that. And then grab. So did you notice that how, because this is a number 5 brush, it holds extra water. So I didn't need to kind of like keep dipping in that well. I'm going to grab a little bit more water. And just so you can see how much water I have in my mixture, it's not a lot, just enough just to kind of like activate those pigments, right? So the thing that we often do wrong is that adding so much water or adding not enough water when it comes to watercolor. So just kind of like finding that happy middle. All right, so I'm just going to go over that same strokes, pumpkin, just like that. I think I have enough here. Downstroke. So there's a pros and cons when it comes to using a thicker brush. The pro is for sure you don't need to keep dipping and trying to get a lot of water, because it holds a lot of water or a lot of this mixture. But the cons is that you have to be really mindful when it comes to the pressure that you are using, or else you're going to end up with, a very thick stroke. Just like that. And I'm going to go work a little faster so I can finish mine, that you can see it. But take your time, because again, this class is being recorded and you'll be able to watch it on Michael's. So just kind of like take your time in there. But I'm going to work just a little fast so I can finish mine and we have something to look at for reference. Because time moves fast when you're having fun. Just like this. Just want to have clean strokes. Okay, I love it. Pumpkin. All right, cleaning my brush, I am going to go use another color. For some reason, I think I just want to use 2 colors for my lettering. I think I want to use this light yellow ochre, the 183. And then I want to use the pine color, the darker green that I have. This one. Just like this. I'm adding some mixture to this. This is just, it just kind of like came to me that this is what I want to do. Now, I'm going to go do this carefully because I can easily ruin this. I think I have a lot of water in my brush, so I'm going to be, oops, I can already see it. There was a lot of water. I'm just going to go slow. And I want a lot of control, so I'm holding my brush also. Notice how I'm holding it so close to the tip, because I want a lot of control when it comes to adding some pressure and focusing on just the tip of this brush. So sometimes your placement, the way you're holding your brush, helps a lot to get better control navigating or using it. But you just got to find that happy, oops, that's a lot. I can already see, when you see some pool of water, like almost like ready to drip from your brush, then you know that you have too much of that mixture in your brush. So make sure to kind of like dab it and put it back in the palette or use some paper towel, but I don't want to waste the mixture, so I'm just kind of like re-dabbing it, putting it back in that palette instead of a paper towel. Again, focus on heavier pressure, slightly heavier, because we're using a synthetic brush in here and not a marker. So just go easy on that pressure, but just add a little bit pressure to create a thicker stroke, okay? But not so much, because this brush is really flexible and it's very easy to create thicker strokes by just applying just slightly heavier pressure, I should add. And just go really slow, because we've already did, the hardest part is to really find a placement. So we have the first sketch, and that really does help a lot. Now I have a little too much water in the dot of my letter I. So all I did is just kind of like holding my baby wipes or a paper towel just to kind of let that get absorbed. So I like that. Now I'm going to go my light ochre again for the word end. I should probably use a smaller brush here. I don't know. I'll just go gentle. Okay, add some mixture. I feel like I just add like 3 big drops of water here to create this mixture here. And then if you see your brush or like that silver part in there with some water, make sure to kind of like clean it up, because you don't want to drop that in your work and you're like, oh man, because it happened to me there many, 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 many times. So just if you see that already and that, just try to pick it up and dry it with a paper towel or some baby wipes. Yeah, I feel like I used too big of a brush here because the word end is so small. I think we'll be okay. And then I'll do my loop. That's a lot. That's a lot. Just like that. And right. Cleaning my brush. I'm gonna do the word everything. Use a little bit of what I have left in here before I create more. So when you have like flourishing like this that we did to our letter E, try not to do that first. Try to concentrate on the letter first, then we can add the flourish later on. So do your letter first, draw the letter first, then you can add your loop later on. I feel like I always add too much pressure with my downstroke. It happens when I don't know, when I'm not being mindful anymore. I'm just kind of like going with the flow. When I get overly relaxed, then I'm not being careful anymore. So try to be very intentional with every stroke that you create. I don't know if it's part of my being an artist that kind of like, okay, my mind's not there anymore, then I'm just not careful. All right. You can most certainly do this with a watercolor. My problem with a watercolor is I always have issues with the amount of pigment or color that I'm using. I feel like when I'm blending with, even just a pan of watercolor, for some reason, I'm just using too much color. I feel like when I'm using a marker, I feel like I get better results because I'm not using too much water and too much pigments. I feel like I have better blends. But then again, maybe it's just me. Maybe you don't have any issues with that. But to me, I feel like that's what I've noticed is that every time I use a pan, I don't know, my mixture is just not the same. Ooh, I'm going to try not to do the loop first because it's making me scary. So I'm going to go ahead with the letter T. But if you notice how I'm doing everything very, very slow, because that is what's going to make this successful is if we become patient with each of the stroke that we're creating. And I'm going to go make it where it's almost parts of that loop is behind the letter N from the word end, excuse me. Now with this, my word everything, I feel like my spacing is a little off between each letters. I feel like the letters in the middle is a little too cramped. Then I got looser after the letter H. I feel like, oh, I have enough space. Now I can kind of like, do my spacing differently. So make sure to just kind of like check everything first before you start doing this. I thought I was happy with it. Now, maybe I just did the strokes a little too thick. Maybe that's it. We have to keep in mind that, okay, we're going to use a brush pen or a brush later on. So I'm going to create some thickness in here. So maybe with that in mind, then we can make better spacing next time. All right, I'm going to remember that too. All right, I'm going to do the loop for the letter Y. Oh my God, slowly. Because I can still see my sketch. So I'm just going to do this slow and I'm going to put this palette down so I can really concentrate in here. Okay. And I just love doing this in watercolor because I love seeing like when the pigment is like moving around with the water and blending. So pretty. Now I did my Y. I've overextended it because I can see parts of my letter G here. Oh my goodness. It's okay. We're just going to have to make that letter G a bit shorter, I suppose. I have no other option in here. We're just going to make that. Okay, because I overdid the letter Y. See, I'm making it too thick because I'm doing it fast and I'm not being mindful. Not demure at all. Okay, Lay, calm down. We're going to do this shorter because you made your Y too big. All right. I think that's okay. Now I'm going to go over the letter T because I feel like this one got too light, not enough pigment in there. So I'm just carefully adding some extra pigments, but I'm good with that. All right. Now we have the last word, nice. Now this one, I feel like you can just write all of this in bold, just thick strokes all throughout instead of kind of like what we did with the pumpkin where some of it are thin or some of it are actually, you know what? Now looking back at it, I don't think I was successful with creating parts of it thin and parts of it thick. I feel like it has equal thickness. What do you guys think? I feel like that's what I did there. So yeah, I'm just not going to be careful with this one. All right. So N, just going to make it a little thicker. Thank you so much, Robin. It's always so fun to do this because, we learn, you would think that we're doing lettering. Oh, we're doing lettering again. No, we learn new things each time. And it's like the more we do this, the more we practice, really, it's like the more comfortable we get, using different tools, for example. And that's what I love about it is that we learn new things every week and I'm learning with you. So it's like just amount of pigments to use, amount of water, then you'll get more comfortable with your mixture like this, or your strokes or your thickness. So, and this is not going to be as fun without you guys, trust me on that. So I'm so grateful that you guys are here. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Great. So do this. And then we're going to have to add some parts of the leaves. I think I'm going to use the light green for that and some parts of the orange. Oh, thank you. And I feel like with this one, with my letter C, I am going to need a little bit more more mixture, but we'll see. We'll see with that. But the beauty about the lettering is that while it's still wet, you can drop in a little bit of, maybe the orange color in here or terracotta color in here because we're still working almost like with watercolors. So, you can add some blending in here. You can drop in parts of the green. So you can have a little bit of, different mixtures and blends. It's going to look so pretty. I was in Toronto this weekend and we did some journaling class and everybody had so much fun using the gelato. So um, I don't know if you are familiar with the gelatos. A lot of you guys are, my regulars in here. So I know that it's like, oh, it's fun. So you already know my gelato and my love for gelato. So hey, Cher. Oh yes, I know, right? So everybody had so much fun using the gelato. Some of them were like very new to the gelato. So I was so happy that I got to introduce that medium to them. And a lot of them are like planner girls. So they're doing some journaling, but most of the time just kind of like playing in their planners or their bullet journals. And they have no idea what the gelatos are. And I'm like, no way. Gelatos are my favorite. So yeah, that was really, really fun. All right, so we have pumpkin spice and everything nice. Now the next thing to do in here is we're gonna add some, some pretty flourishing in here. I want to add some leaves. I'm gonna use a smaller brush. Yes, Jen, we Michaels do carry some sets of the gelatos. It is available as kind of like different colors, but different sets as well. So we have iridescent set. They have the metallics, the lights, and the pastel set. So it's really, really fun. You need it. Okay, so now I'm going to use different colors. We're going to introduce another color in here. I'll use the light green and most likely I will use the burnt ochre or the terracotta. I'm not sure yet about which one. Okay, so I'll start with the light green and I'm using a number 2 round brush. Okay, so a bit smaller because I don't want to make all my leaves too big. So I'm just going to use a number 2 brush here. But if you only have one size of brush, then it's okay. Just go gentle on your pressure so you don't make it too big. All right. Oh, thank you for sharing that. The gelatos. All right. Okay, so because this is a little still wet, I'm gonna try my hardest to be really careful. And I'm not so good at being careful. So if you have a hair dryer or a heat tool, you might want to grab that and just kind of like dry the bottom area first before you make any smudges. So I'm just gonna add in like a eucalyptus like here. And the color is so perfect too for like a eucalyptus. I'm just not going to overthink this one and just kind of like go and make it so we can finish. We have another lettering class coming up next month for Thanksgiving. You can use it to, create some cards, or just kind of like if you are hosting, it's nice to have like a little of your decor, because it's always nice to have like a personalized decor anyways, So yes, thank you, Nicole, for sharing that. And then I'm going to make it where it's almost looking the same. So I'm just going to add it there to the right side as well, even though they're not going to look the same, because I always have issues making things look the same anyways when I'm doing it on each side. And for some reason, the more I try to make it look the same, the more it doesn't look the same. So I don't know if it's just me, guys, but I almost kind of like gave up on that part. As long as there's like very cohesive, there's things in here and all that. So I'm gonna use parts of the terracotta. I don't know which colors. Oh, it's a different one. I'm gonna put it on the side, and I'm gonna use it to paint some pumpkins, a little tiny pumpkins. And I'm gonna go back to the number 5. I don't like this brush. I think I ruined that brush already. I'm gonna need a new size. So I'm gonna use the terracotta, get an orange. This is it's like a muted, warm orange. It's so hard to explain color of terracotta. But I'm gonna make pumpkins. I'll make it in 3 only. I want you to see this one. So I start with the middle part of the pumpkin, right? And then I add a little bit of that side. That is not good. So I'm gonna redo it over here. I told you, the more I kind of like be careful. Look, what I was trying to do, guys, is have a negative space in between. So I'm going to try and lift some of the colors, because I didn't do a great job. I think because I have a big brush, I should have stayed with the number 2. But I want to have a negative space in between that to create the pumpkin. And it didn't work for me. Oh well. We're just going to live with our mistakes. It's okay. I'm going to just try and do better. All right, lay. Negative space. All right, there we go. Great job. Then we do on the other side with your negative space as well. I think there's there's like fiber of baby wipes in my brush. I am not going to blame it on that, but it could be. It could be part of that. And I'm just going to keep grabbing. And I'm going to draw just a little bit more on this side. Again, be careful if your letters are still wet. So just be mindful of that, because as I say that, I am... Thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. It means a lot. It means a lot from all of us here on Michaels and Faber-Castell. All right, so I have a little bit of pumpkin. I think I'm gonna... Now it's up to you if you want to add like a bigger one on top, which is, I think it's not a bad idea, because why not? So we start with I always start with the middle part of that pumpkin. And I'm really doing this where it almost feels very whimsical, my pumpkin here. I just want to make sure that it's rounded at the bottom. Maybe it's too short, too stubby. Just like that. And I'm going to add some of that pine, or maybe the brown. I think I'm going to go with the brown that I have. This is the burnt sienna. Just going to have a little bit of that. And I'll have the stalk of the pumpkin. Now this one, I don't even have to make it perfect. I really just want to look like there's something over there. And it's so whimsical. Just like that. Again, the more you're too careful, the more you're not going to be happy. So just kind of try to be, very open to, because it's watercolors, so the colors are going to blend. See that? and it's gorgeous. And that's what I love about watercolors is that. Exactly. So I'm going to use some of the other color, the green again. I'm going to add some more leaves, some greenery in here. We're almost done. We can add a bit of that brown too for the leaves, because it's a gorgeous fall. So see how I'm doing this? It's just 1, 2, and then 3, and just like that. Let's do that again. So I'll start with the middle part of the leaf, just so I know its orientation. It's like leaning a little bit to the left. And I start with just 1. Use your brush, 2, 3, and just the top. And just again, add some pressure. It gets smaller as you go up, and then just the top, right? Use that brush to create your shapes. And don't be so hard on yourself if you didn't get it the first time, because again, when you're doing this, it's like the more you do it, really, and the more you play with your tools, like for example, this brush pen, you're going to know exactly how much pressure you're going to use to create like the strokes that you are wanting. So I'm going to add a little bit more of that burnt ochre so I can have to this other side of my pumpkin. And I'll add a little bit of greens, and then we're done. So here I'm going to go do it where it's facing the other side, and I'll start again with thick, right? I'm just really flexing that brush. And it's just going on the tip, and I'll do the opposite. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to get shorter as you go over there. If you want to add a little bit more, use the tip of the brush to create a little bit of strokey, very thin strokes. And just like that, clean that brush, add a little bit of green. Thank you so much, Judith. Yes, I really love this one too. I should frame this. I should have framed this. Or what you can do also is that, you can scan everything and then just make it into a card, reprint it again, and you'll make your own card. But this is our class for today, class. I hope that you found it inspiring and fun. I had so much fun. I had so much fun. We did everything. You should be proud of yourself because we did everything from the scratch. We learned how to do composition, right? We did, from the sketching and then blending of the palette. And thank you so much. And using your tools and your markers in a different way. But this has been so much fun. Again, my name is Leibella Rolson. It's always my great pleasure being here with you every Wednesday. And I can't wait to see you again next Wednesday, and same time, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. And I hope to see you again. But as always, stay creative and stay happy. I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.